And yeah, it's very pretty, but there's not much space.
Hello and welcome to Venice. Yes, we are getting out and about a bit, and soon we'll have a new engine.
Yes, we've got an e-propulsion engine that's due with us in a week or so we can get out and explore a little bit more. It is lovely to just leave the boat here and get straight across into Venice and go around the canals. It would be nice with a smaller boat that's easy to manoeuvre. It was a bit tricky in there.
I thought you did very well.
Well, we didn't hit anything, so that's fine.
And judging by today, we might even get some sunshine. So I hope you like the film.
Coming up, it's all in the mask. The stories behind the iconic Venetian fashion. The canals are still empty. We take a trip in a smallish boat. And navigating the Med during COVID. Where can you and can't you go? After weeks doing very little exercise, time for a change.
Morning! I did think it would be a bit sunnier this morning, but I'll go on a run anyway. It's cold, but I'm very unfit and we need to just keep moving, I think. Just get out there and do something.
The park offers a great backdrop for a run, but I soon realised just how unfit I am.
So I'm just going to put some music on and I'm going back to some training. I'm going to do week 3. No, I'm not. That's pathetic. Week 3 of Couch to 5K. That's pathetic. Week 5 of Couch to 5K. That means I get to walk a bit as well, which helps. You're feeling a bit, sluggish right now.
Couch to 5K. I recommend it. I am proof that anyone can learn to run.
There we are. Jo Wiley. She helps me through.
I don't recommend running on the pontoon in the summer when the marina is full, but right now it's pretty safe. And the rest of the park is just gorgeous. Right up to the end. And then it's just a question of getting down.
I'm not coming down like that. Slowly down.
Meanwhile, the building work on Certosa is steaming ahead, so we decide to have a day out.
We're going to go on a little trip this morning in Fair Isle. We've actually got this, which is Certosa's courtesy boat. Pretty amazing, really, because
It's massive.
80 brake horsepower engine. I was expecting some little dinghy as their courtesy boat, but yeah, this is what we've got. So we can go and explore. We're going to go and have a look at St Erasmo and
Yeah, let's go for a walk.
all around there.
I think it's going to be nice.
Yeah, we're going to go that way.
Sant Erasmo is a nature island just north of Certosa. With the unexpectedly large engine, we make it in record time. The only problem in Venice is parking.
Done enough Italian to know what that means?
No.
Magistrato, it says Pubblico. So what's the verdict?
Well, it says here that you can use it for loading and unloading of goods, but no parking. So
Finita la sosta.
yeah, I'm pretty clear that's no parking.
No parking.
We will have to find a way to navigate the lagoon in a small boat. It's too pretty to miss, especially now when we have the place to ourselves. But for now, it's back to the canals.
It's very pretty, but there's not much space.
It's great to be able to get close to the shops, even if one of you does have to wait on the boat.
So Judy's gone to do some shopping. I'm going to stay with the boat because this is probably a private mooring.
Venice is having some days of activity, especially away from the centre.
Good shopping done.
Hello, it is so busy down there.
Is it?
Yeah, and there's market stalls and all sorts.
People chatting on the streets, the small local shops beginning to open. But the delight is still the emptiness. What a privilege to be able just to explore.
It is a bit narrow, isn't it? Yeah, well done.
According to Navionics, there's a right turn at the end here. I hope that's right because it gets a bit narrow, so I'm not going to be able to turn around. Okay, this week's quiz question is going to be a little bit more tricky. You guys have been getting it within about an hour, so it's a bit of a longer answer for this one. It's inspired by the classic old Italian boats like the gondola here and the Toppettos, which still have this sort of system where you can have a post. It's called a focola that goes in the right hand side of the boat. You can see here that it's blanked off, but you could take that off and put the focola back in if you needed it to row. So the focola is just a derivation of the post that used to be there for steering the boat. It was before they invented rudders. That's how all boats were steered, was with a steering board on the right hand side. It was normally on the right hand side because, well, it's always on the right hand side because most people were right handed, so just became the standard. So that's where we get the name starboard for. Steering board on the right hand side became starboard, the starboard side. So the question is, what's the history of the left hand side of the boat? Where's the name come from? Want a full as history as possible of the derivation of that name. I won't comment on them until we've got a few in. I'll just give you a thumbs up to know that I've read it, and we see who comes up with the best answer.
Well, it's not been much of a carnival week so far. The masked carnivals are supposed to be happening at the moment. We've seen bits of confetti on the floor, but that's about it. But these are the masks that you're supposed to be wearing.
There is a story behind every one. The myth of the unicorn, the Joker mask and the beautiful half mask.
I think these with the embroidery is what I imagine for a masked ball, and the clothes, obviously. Amazing.
The beak mask is perhaps the most famous. It was originally worn by doctors during the plague to protect them from airborne disease. Sound familiar? Back on board, there are more winter jobs to be done.
The sun's out, but it's not that warm yet, so I'm not starting varnishing. If you saw last year, I revarnished everything. So this was done with a thing called wood skin, which is easy to apply. It's got a few just wear bits like that. That's just from where we tie the dinghy on, so it's no big deal. I can just touch those bits up. It doesn't need a whole new coat. So it's, it's lasted a whole year. That's pretty good in the sunshine. And the Epiphanes, which is more difficult to put on. Again, it's fared pretty well. There's a couple of little bits, but again, that's just a touch-up job. Don't have to do the whole thing, so that's good. One of the other ongoing jobs you'll know from last week was doing the portholes. Trying to use this Gentechnic stuff to see if it delays having to polish them up again. So I'll just take you through exactly what I'm doing with that. Cleaned them up in the usual way. If you've seen the brass cleaning video, yes, I am sad enough to have done a whole video on brass cleaning and bronze, but I've changed it slightly from what I've done with that. I'm still using the Barkeeper's Friend to clean it up to begin with. It just takes all the tarnish off really quicker than any polish will do. But I'm using this cream version of it now, just easier to use than the other one, works exactly the same. And then polishing it either with the 3M stuff that I really like, or with the G-Technic stuff, which is just as good, but it's thinner. But they're both much better than the Brasso and the old stuff we used to use. And I got this at Christmas, actually, when we were back in the UK, just off Amazon, which you just put onto your polisher, or you can have an attachment to put it onto a drill. And it's good for this because it's fiddly around all the bits, so it makes the polishing a bit quicker. But that's all done. And then to put the G-Technic stuff on, you need this stuff, panel wipe, first of all. As I say, this isn't meant for just on the cloth and give it a good go around. It's not meant for metal. This is meant for doing your gel coat. But it's something that I'm told might work on this, and it seems to be so far. I'm going to have to wait and see in the future if it does stop it tarnishing so quick. But so far, as I say, so good. So once you've got it nice and clean with the panel wipe, you use this ceramic fast coat, and it is fast. You just put it on and wipe it off. It's very thin. I mean, it's like water really. So you have two cloths. They give you special cloths in the kit when you buy this stuff. These sort of special microfiber cloths. So I've marked them up as one is on and one is off. So mix them up. So go for the on one, and just give a little spray sort of on the cloth around it. Try and wipe it all over. And it says you can sort of build up coats a little bit with this. You can put a couple of coats on. So you put one on and let it dry. I'm not sure how long it takes to dry. It's a few minutes, I think, really. But we get it all on. Try and cover everything. So what this is doing is bonds on a chemical level. So it's a tiny, really thin layer it puts on. It's supposed to be UV resistant and hopefully tarnishing is what I want to do, but it stops fingerprints, that's for definite, because I've used it on the compression post, which you saw last week, and that's still beautifully shiny and clean. Whether it can stand up to salt water is another matter, but we'll see. I'll give it a good coat. I'm going to leave it a couple of minutes and I'll give it another one. Actually, before I do that, I should use my off cloth. I mean, basically this is just to stop it smearing, it says, to have sort of high spots on it. It doesn't really seem to get them, to be honest, drips or high spots the way I put it on. But so yeah, I mean, if I can delay cleaning these things, at the moment I have to clean them really every couple of months to keep them looking decent. And they take quite a while to clean, so this will save me a lot of time. Oh, we got the maps out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Schengen thing, which people have been talking about. I think we're okay for this year because we should be able to get from Venice to Croatia, Montenegro, Albania 3 months.
As long as COVID's okay and we can travel, we can, yeah.
Exactly. Then Greece for 3 months, which is Schengen, and then Turkey. But what we do after that, and what our friends who are around here are doing, I don't know.
Yeah, the Western Med is a bit of a mess, isn't it? Because it's so much Schengen area there. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be, when we do leave, it's going to be probably a very quick sail out, which is such a shame because there's so much to explore.
Yeah.
And even Gibraltar now is a place to stop, is Schengen. So I imagine the Schengen clock keeps ticking when you're in Gibraltar as well. So we can't even use that as a place to get the days, the Schengen 90 and 180 days down. Yeah, it's a bit of a bugger. One of the beauties of the Med is there's such a diverse range of countries in a small space. There's only 2 absolute no-goes, Syria and Libya. Egypt and Algeria might best be avoided. You're unlikely to get insurance for a start. Most of the northern Med is in the Schengen zone, so if you come from one of those countries you have free movement. If you're from outside, Britain has just joined that group post-Brexit, your time is very limited. So you'll be looking for non-Schengen countries. We have a good non-Schengen area near us in the Eastern Adriatic. And of course there's Turkey, where everyone seems to be headed at the moment. All of Cyprus is also outside the Schengen zone, even though the Greek bit is EU. Rules are changing fast and COVID's putting a spanner in the works as well, so we decided to have a ring round of our friends in different parts of the Med and get their take on what's happening. First up, Barry and Antje from Sailing ABC, another sailing channel. They're currently in Turkey and have the advantage of having both Australian and British passports.
You can use either passport, but we looked at the option. Well, if you can enter a country for your 90 days on your British passport and then leave and then come back in on your Aussie passport, it's just not going to work like that. No. They figured that one out.
I thought that was a very cunning
which is a real shame.
Yeah.
To stay over winter, you've got to do this residency agreement, haven't you?
Yes.
Just a short residency agreement. What's the process of that? What does that entail?
Okay, first thing to do is to get your biometric photos. Probably a local shop in town will do that. Then get insurance, health insurance, for the length of the temporary Turkish residency you are applying for. Again, local town, there will be insurance office. Then you make your application online with either the help of someone who is a friend who can speak Turkish or a translator in town. They will do a lot of stamping of paperwork, ask you a couple of questions, and issue you with a temporary residency piece of paper. 2 months, 3 months later, you will receive your actual plastic ID card in the mail, and you're good to go for your 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months, however long you applied for.
Yeah.
And a basic cost of that?
Oh, okay. I think all up, it was about 4,000 Turkish lira.
So
That's about £400.
200.
Yeah. So I know from your video it worked out to about €200, I think, for the insurance, because that's one thing that I've heard some people say, that the health insurance can be really expensive in Turkey. But I guess that just depends on your health, does it? If you've got lots of pre-existing conditions.
It depends on your age. Yes, it very much depends on your age. Yeah. A friend of ours, she's 37. She bought 450 lira.
Yeah.
Whereas ours individually cost us 1,000 lira each because of our age difference.
Yeah. But you're only 27, aren't you? So you get it really cheaply.
Of course I am. Yeah.
We're 95, but we just look good.
You're going to have your lovely couple of years or whatever it ends up being in Turkey. What then? How are you going to brave the Western Med, or are you? What's your plan?
Very quickly.
Yeah. Obviously, the Schengen dance is a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
There may or may not be some sort of agreements made between various countries by then to give you 6 months instead of 3. But working on the idea that you're only going to get 3 months, we can go into Greece for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then head down to Malta and then head to Tunisia for 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the 90 days in 180-day clock is a stop-start clock as you move from place to place. And you've got to keep track of that, obviously.
Yeah.
Our friends Paul and Debbie also have dual Australian and British nationalities. They've been travelling under their British passports, but might now decide to switch.
We're now in Sicily, in Licata, for the winter. Arrived here on British passports, but we do have Australian passports as well. So that will make a difference in the end, because of the bilateral agreement between Australia and Italy means we can stay an extra 3 months if we get to use that passport. Whether or not that means we have to leave Italy and come back in for a day trip or something, but obviously at the moment you can't do that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what were your plans, and what are your plans now?
Well, we were planning to go to 6 countries this season because we wanted to come out and go to Malta and then head up to Croatia via Montenegro, Albania, and then head to Turkey via Greece. Because Greece, if you don't go to Greece before you go to Turkey, at the moment you can't go the other way round. Greece won't allow you to come in from Turkey. So we thought before we get to Turkey, we'll go to Greece for 3 months. But that looks very unlikely now because we don't want to be doing testing everywhere we go.
And isolation.
Yeah. And also potentially getting a vaccine. How will you get a vaccine as Australians, essentially, aren't you?
The Australian government has already said that they will not provide any help to any Australians overseas.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you're going to have to go to a country, and maybe once most of their population or all of their population is vaccinated, maybe a foreigner could buy one.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're looking at possibly getting residency in Turkey, and maybe if you're a resident in Turkey, you'd be able to get one. But nobody knows. You could ring the Turkish health minister, and he wouldn't be able to tell you. So if he doesn't know, then how are we going to find out?
Yeah,
It does happen to be that Britain is going to be one of the first to have their whole population vaccinated, though.
It is.
That and Malta looks good as well.
Yeah, you might be able to go then to England then to get it. But of course, it's 2 vaccines, isn't it, over the period at the moment of about 12 weeks in the UK. So that would take 2 trips backwards and forwards, which is difficult as well, isn't it?
That's right.
So yeah, rock and a hard place. So what have you been told about countries that you can go to, with if you've got a vaccine certificate? Then I know Greece is one, isn't it, that have said you need at the moment to have a vaccine certificate to get in. Are there any others that you've heard of?
Yeah, there are a few. There is a link that we were checking quite regularly. Unfortunately, it doesn't affect us. It's mostly landlocked countries in Europe.
Malta, though,
and
is
Malta,
talking about being interested in it.
Yeah, which is where we wanted to go to from here. But we don't want to go there and then we're stuck there and we can't get out of there either. You know?
Yes.
You can get some pretty bad weather in Malta. But with the Schengen issue, nobody on ground level seems to really understand the rules anyway. So we've had somebody in the marina here who is overstaying their Schengen. So they went and asked one of the local officials, and he said, no, you'll be absolutely fine because of COVID. Everything's been extended.
Okay.
But if you talk to somebody else in the next office, they might not agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem.
Very tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing for Brits in the Med is that if you have your boat out of the UK for more than 3 years, you'll now be charged VAT if you ever want to take it home.
So if we take Fair Isle back, we've got to pay VAT again.
Yeah,
Luckily, we probably won't do that. But for Mike and Katie,
Yeah.
they've now got to make that decision. They're in Cartagena. They'd have to sail straight back this year with COVID restrictions as well. So that's not going to be easy if they're not going to pay VAT all over again.
Not just that, but they're in England and they've got to get to Cartagena in the first place.
Yeah. Good luck.
We're stuck between Brexit and the RGR.
Yeah, RGR's becoming a bit of a problem for us as well, which is the VAT thing.
Yeah.
We obviously at the moment can't get to the boat. Murcia borders are shut. Spain is shut. We have tentatively booked a ferry passage at the end of April because people are booking up the ferries.
Oh wow.
We won't get through France, so I booked one direct to Spain and just hoping that we'll get down. But then you're going to run into the 90-day rule as well, because we want to have some time on the boat.
Yes, that's right.
But the way with COVID now, it looks like we're going to be stuck at 90 days really this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you've got to allow sufficient time to get back, because if you have
there's
problems...
travelling time included. So, before we would have a couple of days dawdling through and a day dawdling through Spain, and now we're thinking, well, that's 3 days of our 90 days. It's all adding up.
But apart from that, we're really stuffed. I somewhere near you is a place called San Marino, which doesn't count. So if you can get Fair Isle into San Marino,
yeah. Well, it's not that near us. We'd have to go all the way around Italy again. It's the other side of Italy.
But we'd give it a whirl.
I don't know where it was, but
Yeah.
So quite sobering thoughts there from the friends that we've been talking to about Schengen and COVID. And I think the message is we'll try and keep you posted because things are just changing all the time. And a lot of people have been asking.
Yeah, and we're hoping that it get easier for Brits with some sort of bilateral agreements with different countries. But at the moment, obviously, COVID is the real sticking point. We've got to leave here by April 4th. That's when we need to be out of the Schengen area. And, we want to obviously sail to Croatia. And it's whether they, allow us in. We can't get a vaccine here very easily. We might have to go back to get that if we need that to get in. Who knows? But we will keep you posted.
Meanwhile, we're going to be travelling around the province of Venice, which is quite big, fortunately. So if we hire a car, I think we can head up, into the mountains?
Well, yeah, the Veneto goes right the way up, even up to Cortina, where actually there's World Series skiing going on at the moment. There isn't any amateur skiing allowed at the moment, but by the next couple of weeks, they're hoping to open up some lifts. Even if not, we might be able to hire some skins and skin up and ski down. That'd be fun.
Yeah, you can. Anyway, the
Quiz.
competition.
Oh yeah. Quiz question. Who were the winners?
George was one of the winners and Jan McCarrick was the other winner.
Yes.
So 2.
George was obviously got in there early as a patron, but yes, this is what it is. It's an ultra anchor ring. It's heavy, 24 pounds, 11 kilograms. That is, and yes, as Jan and George said, it's to slide down the chain and use as a calit or an angel or a chum or any of the other words that people have for these things. I don't subscribe to being something to give you more ultimate holding, but I've talked to a few well-experienced sailors and they said there are some uses for it, so we'll be looking at that in another anchoring video. But yeah, well done to George and Jan.
When we get to go out anchoring again, which I hope will be quite soon as well, especially if the weather holds.
So I hope you get the answer to this week's quiz question, which is more difficult. We'll just leave that for a little bit and get the answers in and find out who's got the best one, and we'll give you the answer to that.
So just leaves us to say thank you to our patrons, thank you to our subscribers, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.